This video is going to talk about another possible HSR route in Canada and the United States of America, that being the Portland to Vancouver High-Speed Rail, another name for it being the Pacific Northwest High-Speed Rail. Go check out my Twitter account if you want to talk to me at Transit Times, or if you want to see what I'm currently working on or what I'm thinking about. This HSR route is one of the top 10 that was being proposed by the U.S. government. In July 2017, the government of Washington state budgeted $300,000 for a feasibility study of Ultra HSR. The train would have been running at a top speed of 400 miles per hour, and for the Americans, 250 miles or higher. It would link Vancouver, British Columbia, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon. The study was done by December of that year. It showed the technology options, new options, preliminary financial funding models, and recommendations. In conducting a bold, detailed business case analysis that would examine the ridership projections, governance, funding, and financial in much larger detail. There are three possible choices for where they could put the stations. The first choice has 9 stations. There would be 3 hub stations and 6 regular stations. The hub stations will be in Vancouver, Seattle, and Portland. The regular stations will be in Surrey, British Columbia, Birmingham, Washington, Everett, Washington, Tacoma, Washington, Olympia, Yale, Kelso, Longview, Portland, Oregon. The second choice would have 10 stations, 4 hub stations, and 6 regular stations. The hub stations are Surrey, British Columbia, which is Vancouver's metropolitan area, Bellevue, Redmond, Piqua, which are both part of the metropolitan area of Seattle, and the metropolitan area of Seattle is large, and Portland's regular station will be the same as the first choice. The final choice would have 12 stations and 4 hub stations with 8 regular stations. The hub stations is the same as the second choice. The regular stations are where it's different. There will be 2 stations at Vancouver International Airport and Portland Airport. I like the first and third choice for stations. The first choice I like because it would give the biggest cities in the area hub stations, and it would maximize the ridership and connection. I like the third choice because it would give stations to the airport. After all, they could also increase ridership. What I would choose is they would create a fourth choice to combine them. Both hub stations in the biggest cities in the area and regular stations at the airport. If I had to choose, I would say the first one is better because simplicity is often best. Fun fact, Microsoft had paid $60,000 for the preliminary study and had earlier sponsored economic analysis, which served as a spark for the preliminary studies commissioned by Washington State. In March 2018, the state of Washington agreed to spend $750,000 on conducting a detailed business case analysis, as was recommended in the preliminary studies that came before. In July 2018, the governor of Washington State, Jay Insall, went to Vancouver, British Columbia to meet the Premier of British Columbia, John Horgan. Because of this and other meetings, more funding was granted, and it was increased to around $1.5 million. It came from 4 different sources: $350 CAD from the BC government, $750,000 from the state of Washington, $300,000 from Oregon State, and $300,000 from an unlikely ally known as Microsoft. In 2018, the Cascadia Innovation Corridor Conference was co-sponsored by Microsoft. The conference was a cross-border initialization to boost investment and collaborations. When they met their time on, one of the things they talked about was the updated HSR business case analysis. In January 2019, the government of Washington passed a bill that would give $900,000 to the creation of a HSR authority. The governor of Washington State went back up to meet the Premier of British Columbia. The Premiers announced that it would contribute $300,000 CAD to analysis of cross-border governance model for HSR authority. More funding came later on from Oregon and Microsoft. It's funny, Microsoft keeps showing up almost like they want this thing to build, but we'll talk about that in the later part of the video. July of that year, the report stated Extreme HSR could be built with the 2017 estimate of $24 to $42 billion. Later in the year, many different groups met up to talk about the business case analysis and promote it. The most popular of all the meetings were the Microsoft head office meetings in November, which brought together private corporations, pro-business, non-profit government organizations, and universities from both sides of the border. Why does Microsoft care so much about Pacific Northwest High-Speed Rail, because the high-speed rail would make the cities in the area function as a high level, which would increase investment in shared transportation, could spur economic growth. What is more important to large multinational corporations than money? Dirty capitalist pigs. I think the most critical state or province in this project would be the state of Washington, because they are right in the middle of the project. I'll give an example of why they are the most important. Let's say British Columbia was to pull out of the project, which is a bad idea since it benefits them a lot and it's stupid. The project could just be built from Portland to Seattle instead. Or if Oregon was to pull out of the project, which is also a bad idea since it benefits them a lot, the project could just be connected from Seattle to Vancouver. But let's say if Washington was to pull out of the project, it would be completely derailed, making it impossible for the project to continue unless another administration wants the project to go ahead. Another example, Washington State being the most important part of the project, is the fact is they're the ones spending the most amount of money because they know how much it would benefit them, how much good it would come from, how much good it would give them. And with the fact that they have the most number of stations out of all three partners, more specifically in the Seattle metropolitan area. In conclusion, what does this show us? It shows us that high-speed rail in this corridor has been talked about for a long time, and many people who live in this corridor support the idea. Even Fortune 500 companies support the idea of HSR as a way of them making more money from hipsters. Another thing that this shows us is this is in the right direction with the creation of High-Speed Rail Authority in Washington State and a memorandum of understanding being signed. Thank you for watching. Like if you like the video, subscribe if you like the channel, and like what I'm doing on the channel.